Watch me cook a Nigerian stew made with cowheel and turkey, and I had this with butter cassava. So I shared a couple videos that I shared my life experience when I was a teenager, and I had a few people that weren't happy with my story, and they said that I should stay and work things out. Some people even laughed as well. And the sad thing about it is that all the comments and laughters, they came from women. So I'm going to share the other half of my life experience. So after I had my son, a couple months after, I came and I got pregnant with my daughter. So during this phase, things didn't change much. Everything was practically the same. And by this time, I had already gotten accustomed to being abused. So after I had my daughter, I ended up leaving out the food work. And I started to work with my grandmother in her business, where they had a roti shop and a doubles business. I also had a cleaning job at a primary school that we would go in evenings. And I also had a factory work where I used to work a couple days during the week to bottle juices. So during this time, I bought appliances for my home, and I was still taking care of my children alone. So when my son started preschool, I decided to get a permanent job where I started to do cashiering at a supermarket. So while working at the supermarket, I would run susu, and I started billing my home where we were living. So where we lived was on a hill, and we had to carry the materials up by hand. And I remembered buying things to build the home because it was a concrete home I was building. So we're talking about gravel, sand, concrete blocks, galvanized, and everything that you would need to build up, a concrete home. And I had to pay workers to bring the materials up for me because he didn't want to do it. And I remembered paying his friends and them to help me build the house. And I paid them a day work until the house was completed. And he, with his lazy self, would you believe that I had to pay him as well? Would you believe that I had to pay him to build his own home? So yes, I completed the home, which was a kitchen and a dining room, and the other half we were living into 2 bedrooms. So by this time, I had gotten so accustomed to the way how things were working, right? And it never really registered to me that he was supposed to be helping. And by this time, I was already doing everything. I was paying for my children's preschool. I was paying their transportation to go to school. I was paying my electricity, my cable, and my water bill by myself. I was buying groceries for the house, and plus I was billing in the process. So during this time, I endured a lot of abuse. I was even raped a lot of times because I refused to have sex with him. And I remember one time he wanted to have sex with me and I told him no, and he ended up biting me on my private part. I was constantly slapped around often, and because of that, one of my ears, my ear bill, had ruptured. So at this point, years had already passed, and we were in the 7th year of us being together. And by then, I was looking for our next work because I was looking to make more money, to do more things that I could have done in the house. So I ended up getting work at a security firm as a security officer, and I left the grocery work. Upon leaving the grocery work, I was in a big susu which I was supposed to collect 2 hands. So one morning he came home, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was sleeping between my kids, and he came home after he had a good night out, drunk, and was forcing me to have intercourse with him. And I was so tired because I had to go to work that morning. This was the last beating that I got because I had my last straw. This was the last beating. So hope you guys enjoyed part 4 of my story. I will continue giving the other half of the story. Well, it's not really a story, it's my life experience. And hope you guys enjoyed my recipe as well. See you guys in my next video as usual.